Good morning, dear students of class 8. Welcome to the English online learning class. Today we are going to further continue with the lesson The Best Christmas Present in the World, Part 3. So, before we take up today's class, let us have a quick recap of what we did in the previous two classes. Well, the narrator, he was on the lookout of a roll-top desk. He found one in a junk shop in Bridport. The condition of the desk was very bad, but he decided to buy it as it was cheap. And he thought that he is going to repair it. So he bought this roll-top desk and he took it to his workroom, which was at the back of the garage, and he began working on it on Christmas Eve. Now, since it was very old, fire and water had damaged this roll-top desk badly. He had to use lot of brute force in order to just open the drawers. And one of the drawer, he used his fist to open it. Then he found that there was a secret drawer, and there inside was a small box or tin box, and sellotape on the top of it was a piece of lined notepaper in which was written in shaky handwriting Jim's last letter received on January 25, 1915. To be buried with me when the time comes. Out of curiosity, he decided to open the box and read the letter. Now, in the envelope was written Mrs. Jim McPherson, 12 Copper Beeches, Bridport, Dorset. So this letter was written to Mrs. Jim McPherson. The address was also given. Now, he opened this letter, though it is not good to read anyone else's letter, but he thought of reading it because he was very curious to know what was in that letter. This letter was dated December 26, 1914. Now, the letter began like this. Dearest Coney. Coney is referred to Mrs. Jim McPherson. I write to you in happier times, and he says that the person who is writing the letter says that we were all standing in our trenches. These are long, deep ditches where soldiers hide from enemy. And it was Christmas morning. And then what did he see from the other side, from the opposite soldiers who were also camped for fighting? The Fritz, the German soldiers. They were waving flags and they were crying, Happy Christmas, Tommy. Tommy is referred to the English soldiers. And first he thought that this was some trick, but then they started coming towards them. And then one of them waved a bottle of above his head and started shouting that it is Christmas Day and we can have schnapps and sausage together. Now, it is a kind of schnapps is a kind of German drink from grain, and let us celebrate Christmas together. Now, by the time dozens of the German soldiers, they started coming towards the no man's land, and they were not carrying any rifle with them. Now, the English soldiers also said, let us join them. What are we waiting for? Now, the person who was writing the letter, he said, I was suspicious. But then I also decided to follow. In the middle of the war, the surprising thing was that we were making peace. We were talking about peace. Now we'll continue further. You cannot imagine, dearest Connie, my feelings as I looked into the eyes of the Fritz officer, who approached me, hands outstretched. Hans Wolf, he said, gripping my hand warmly and holding it. I am Dusseldorf. I play the cello in the orchestra. Happy Christmas. So he introduced himself as Hans Wolf, the German soldier, the officer, and he said that I also play cello in orchestra in the Christmas. And he also wished him by saying Happy Christmas. Captain Jim McPherson. So the person who is writing is husband of Mrs. Jim McPherson, Connie, whom he is referring as, and he is Captain Jim McPherson. I replied, and a happy Christmas to you too. I am a school teacher from Dorset in the west of England. So he also said, actually, I am also a school teacher like you. You play cello in the orchestra. Similarly, I am a school teacher from Dorset in west of England. Ah, Dorset, he smiled. I know this place. I know it very well. We shared my ramre ration and his excellent sausage. And we talked, Connie, how we talked. He spoke almost perfect English. So the German officer, Jans, Hans Wolf, he was knowing this place, Dorset, where Jim McPherson was the school teacher. He says, I know this place, Hans Wolf says. And he said, further, both of them, they started enjoying the rum and the excellent sausage. And we talked, Coney, how we talked. They were not talking about war. They were not killing each other, but they were talking about their common interests. He spoke almost perfect English, but it turned out that he had never set foot in Dorset, never been to England. He had learned all he knew of England from school and from reading books in English. So he was telling so nicely about England and about Dorset, but he has never been to England or Dorset. He has only read it in his books and from school. His favorite writer was Thomas Hardy. His favorite book, Far from the Madding Crowd. So out there in no man's land, we talked of Bathsheba and Gabriel Oak and Sergeant Troy and Dorset. Variety of talks we were doing about music, about places, but we were not talking about war. He also told about his personal life. He had a wife and one son born just 6 months ago. As I looked about me, there were huddles of khaki and grey everywhere, all mixed uniforms of the German soldiers and the English soldiers. All over no man's land, smoking, laughing, talking, drinking, and eating. So they were enjoying the Christmas day, the Christmas festival. Hans Wolf and I shared what was left of your wonderful Christmas cake. So I also shared the cake which you had baked for Christmas for me with Hans Wolf, and he thought the marzipan was the best. Marzipan is a sweet covering on a cake made from sugar, eggs, and almonds. He had ever tasted, I agreed. We agreed about everything, and he was my enemy. There never was a Christmas party like it for me. So he was telling his wife, never he had enjoyed a Christmas party like this, where enemies, they were not talking about war. They were not talking about hatred and killing each other. They were enjoying and enjoying the festival, eating, drinking, and they were telling about each other's interests. Then someone I don't know who brought out a football. Grey coats were dumped in piles to make goalposts. And the next thing we knew, it was Tommy against Fritz out in the middle of no man's land. So they started playing football. Hans Wolf I looked on and cheered, clapping our hands and stamping our feet to keep out the cold as much as anything. So it was cold, we were cheering, we were jumping, stamping our feet, and this was the only way to express our joy and at the same time keep away from cold. There was a moment when I noticed our breaths mingling in the air between us. He saw it too and smiled. Jim McPherson, he said, after a while, I think this is how we should resolve this war. A football match. No one dies in a football match. No children are orphaned. No wives become widows. So Hans Wolf was telling this to Jim McPherson, which Jim McPherson is writing in his letter. Now, Hans was saying that this is the only way we can solve the disputes of war, by playing matches. In a football match, no one dies. No children are orphaned. They do not become fatherless. And no wives become widows. There are no deaths in football match, whereas deaths are there in war. So the only way to resolve differences is by playing matches and not by waging wars. I'd prefer cricket, I told him. Then we Tommies could be sure of winning probably. So Jim said, instead of football, I would prefer to play cricket because we are very good at it. So we will never be defeated. We laughed at that and together we watched the game. Sad to say, Connie, Fritz won, 2-1. The German side won, 2-1. But as Hans Wolf generously says, our goal was wider than theirs, so it wasn't quite fair. So the German officer, he accepted that when you made a goal, your goal was better than us. So it is not quite fair that we should accept the victory because you played well. So they were appreciating each other, and that was the best part of the day. We will stop here. We'll continue with the remaining in the next class. Till then, have a nice day.